Okay, here we go. Bede, Book 1, 26. At Ubi, but when they entered the mansion given to them, it's not really a mansion, it's probably just a lodging, they began the apostolic, to imitate the apostolic life of the primitive church or the early church, namely with assiduous or continual orations or prayers. They were serving in this way with vigils, staying up, and with fasting, Eunice. The word of life they were preaching to those who they were able to, that'd be dative, all of the things of this world, in spurning them as if they were alien, such things as which seemed necessary to victuary, which is things needed for life, probably food, etc., and a bit of money. From those who they were teaching, in accepting they did this. Secundum, following or in accordance with the things which they were teaching. Themselves, in their way of life, through everything, blah, blah, blah. Prepared to patiendum, which means suffer or bear, near the plurals, adversities, in which, even as far as moriendum, of dying pro ear for these things which they were preaching, and having mind with the truth. Why delay? Nonale, several were believing and were baptized, present participating, admiring the simplicity of the innocent life, innocent way of life, you might want to say, and the dulcitudinem, the sweetness of this doctrine of the heavens. Autem, however, moreover, now there was near Ipsam a city, late Latin civitatis are the cities, to the orient of the church, to the east of the church, to the east. There was, so near this city itself, to the east, there was a church in honor of Saint Martin, Factor. It was made in ancient times. That's an adverb, antiquitous. While still the Romans were intoleranting Britain, while they were inhabiting Britain, in which the Queen, which pray in former times or earlier in this letter, we have said she was a Christian. She was accustomed to array in this church. She was to pray in it. In Hack, in this church, then, Ipsi, all these people themselves, they first began to convenere, which is transitive, so it's in that. Here they would sing psalms, pray, make the missal, the Catholic missals and some of the readings. They would preach, and they began to baptize. So this is taking all those infinitives. Donac, until with the king converted to the faith, there was more of preaching per omnia for all these things, or maybe every place. And churches, they accepted the licenseness, or the ability to freely do it, of fabricating churches or restoring them. At Ubi, but when himself, and even amongst others, so this must be the king himself, he was delectatus, he was delighted by the life most clean of the saints, or these holy people, and the most sweet promises, eorum, of them, which to be true, they confirmed by the ostentation or by the display of many miracles also. And the king, believing, was baptized. They began more quotidian daily to conflux in to hear the word. And with the rites left behind of these pagans or Gentiles or whatever they were, by believing, they joined in with the unity of this sacred Church of Christ. Daily Dictionary, Antiquus, adverb, long ago, formerly in the olden times, top 10,000 words. Of the faith of which and of the conversion, they say, the king was congratulated. Ita ut, thus so, that nevertheless he forced no one to be a Christian. but tantamodo, but only the believing, more closely, with dilection. He loved the believing people more, as if they were concives, fellow citizens, to himself of the celestial kingdom. He embraced these people at the. When you just take chunks out of the clauses to find out who he was embracing, which would have been the people who were believing. Okay, so that clause there is when you chunk out. So he embraced the believing people more tighter with love. 4, he didicated, he was taught by the learned people and the authors of his salvation, that they ought not to be coerced or forced. The serving of Christ should be voluntary, if you like, genitives. Neither did he distort it. He didn't delay or lengthen the time. And why even to these doctors themselves, looks dative, he donated a locum, a place for them set us to live, you might want to say. Also becomes the word for see, like the Holy See of Rome, etc. Congruent to their grades, to I guess how far progressed in the church they are. In this metropolis, what was it, Canterbury or somewhere? I better check. Yeah, Canterbury it was. Simul. And at the same time, he conferred, I guess, to the same people he donated to, the necessary possessions with different appearances, different types of things which were necessary. Okay, 27. Interior. Meanwhile, the man of the Lord, Augustine, came to Arles, and from the Archbishop of the same city, by Aetherius, Juxta's Lexicon, according to what was ordered of the Sacred Father Gregory, Pope Gregory, had accepted this order. The Archbishop of the race of the English, he was ordained as by this guy. Having reversed to Britain, went back there, he sent Continuo immediately a Roman called Laurentium, who was a priest, a presbyter, and Petrus, a monk, who to the blessed Pope Gregory, the faith of the race of the English, that they had taken up the fides of Christ. Okay, so that's what he's saying. He was referring this message. So he was sent, had a message that they had taken up Christ, and that looks like he himself was now a bishop, an episcopum. Simultaneous at the same time, concerning these things which seemed necessary, he was demanding a consultation over these questions. Necmora, without a delay, things congruent to his questions, he received a response, which even to this our history seems commodum or suitable that we think to include. Okay, so is that a question 1? The interrogation, the questions, you might say, of the Blessed Augustus, of the Bishop of the Church of Kent. Concerning bishops, what type of way should they converse with their clerics or interact with them? Or concerning these things, which things should be, which go up to the altar, oblations of the loyalties, how ought these portions ought to become or distributed, and what type thing ought the bishop ought to do in the church?